Hello, my loves. Welcome to September 2022's Energy Update. If you are watching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me know where you're watching from so that I can come back and give you some love for being here and being a part of this community and being in my energy. And for those of you who are brand new to me, just finding me, I am Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multi-dimensional channel, teacher, and healer. And I'm here to help you go from anxiety and activated nervous system, fear, worry, into a space of harmony with your mind, body, and soul, really helping you to find that balance within you, to find who you are, and to hold true to that. So as you're hopping on, say hello. Please share, like, subscribe. Let me know that you are here. And we're going to get started in just a second. I am doing this from my phone through my streaming software on my phone. My laptop is getting repaired at the moment. So I'm having a hard time knowing where to look, because if I look straight at myself, then it doesn't look like I'm looking at you. And so if I have to look at the little hole on my phone, so I'm having to adjust to where I look. It's a little weird. Okay. And as I go through, so for those of you who are new, as I'm channeling, as I'm talking, as things are coming up, if you have questions, comments, anything like that, drop them in the comments below, and at the end, I will look at them and see if there's anything else that we need to address. So first of all, I want to say that if you're here and you're watching me, yay, congratulations, you made it through August. I talked about August's energy update, obviously, in August, but I told you guys it was going to be super intense. Yay, I'm starting to see comments. Perfect. That it was going to be super intense, and it was. It was very intense. So congratulate yourself if you made it through August and you are here and you survived. And hopefully you thrived through it, because we went through, and I have mentioned this in little tidbits here and there, but August was, to date, the largest sustained planetary frequency increase that we have experienced yet. So I do want to address that little piece right there before we go too much further, because I know that it's confusing to some people. A lot of people follow the Schumann resonance and they watch the spikes and they think that these influxes of energy that we feel or that register on the Schumann is temporary, right? They're temporary spikes. They go up and they come back down. And so I want to talk about those two different things that I speak of and just bring a little bit of clarity and understanding to what it is. So when I talk about frequency increases, especially sustained planetary frequency increases, what that means is that the frequency that Mother Earth holds as a sentient being, because she is a sentient being and we are passengers along for the ride, experimenting on her energy, she will always take precedence. And this is why we have seen evolutions completely get wiped out, because she is going to protect her ascension process over anything, including us. So that's why we have seen in there has been documentation in history, right? In evolution, scientists have found that civilizations have been completely wiped out. And that's because Mother Earth, Gaia, will always protect her ascension over everything else. She will always work on coming into balance and harmony. So when we talk about these sustained planetary frequency increases, that is her evolution. That is her as a sentient being, being able to hold a higher resonant frequency. And because of that, it becomes available for us humans to also begin to hold a higher frequency and resonance. It means there is more light streaming into the planet on a consistent basis. So I want you to think of this as how your phone has updates, right? Every now and then, whether it's Android or Apple, you're going to get a software update for your phone, and you're going to be asked to do an update. And if you don't have enough space to do that update, then you have to remove old photos, old videos, old apps that you're not using. Because that's just how this works, right? You have to have space inside. It doesn't still mean if you don't have space to update your phone that the update still isn't available. The update is always available. It's a matter of you making space to actually receive that update and start practicing using it and feeling the upgraded functions and abilities. We are no different. So in August, we went through this, like I said, one of the largest to date frequency increases. And so what did that look like? And a lot of people have felt this a mirage of ways. But what that means is if you were to get those updates for your phone, if you were to start getting 100,000 of those an hour, hundreds, if not thousands of those an hour, being asked to make space and update, space and update, make space and update, and making it so that we honestly have to make space in order to function because the energy around us, the light all around us is vibrating, right? Is holding a frequency resonance that is much higher than ours. So all of that light starts to push on the density that lives inside of us. It starts to push on our shadows, which is our density, right? Our density is our limiting beliefs. It's the old stories. It's the old programs. It's the fears, the shame, the guilt, the trauma, the grief, the ancestral programming, the patterns that you were programmed into, the things that have not been serving you. Anything basically that is in the way, this light began to push. And so this is why I said, in one of the many updates throughout August, I said that where we were going to be experiencing this, right? I actually, even in my YouTube membership and also available in the vault, by the way, in both of those memberships, I actually did a planetary frequency alignment for the body, preparing those members for August because of where we were going to be feeling this in our body. And I even said, it's kind of funny how even the CDC came out and said, we expect to see an increase in COVID patients, through a certain date in August. So everything is connected. And even I myself, for the first time in 2 years, ended up getting COVID, right? I've been around many people with COVID and never gotten it. And this time I did. And it was a very deep, deep, deep experience where I witnessed the purging of victim energy, of fear, of shame, of guilt. Like it was grief. It was a hardcore penetration. And going through and having the COVID experience while being this conscious was actually, while it sucked physically, I witnessed and learned a lot about how the energy moves, and especially when it's that dense, especially when it's that painful, especially when it's grief or victim or shame, when it's really, really, really deep victim energy. I got to witness. I was like, wow, this is insane. The stories that are attached, the way that where this was living in my body. It was an interesting bilateral experience of going through the physical release and the pain that was associated and witnessing it at the same time. So it was a very interesting experience. But the reason why I bring this up is because something that I mentioned was that almost the entire planet was penetrated this time. So a lot of time we'll go through we've had these frequency updates, these increases, and not everybody experiences them, right? Especially people who you would label unconscious or less aware. And almost everybody experienced this and was affected by it. And that could be in a very positive way, and it could have been in a very uncomfortable way. So we saw a lot of people in pain, having issues in their bodies that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. We saw a lot of people have an increase in diagnoses or illnesses, people who got COVID, people who just got sick in general, right? Again, experiencing pain or discomfort in the body, emotional upheaval, a lot of mental obsession in the brain. So there was a lot of things that could have been available, right? Because there was this pushing of light on that density. But to the other side of that, there also could have been this experience of this light shining on what is available. So a lot of people could have experienced bliss, abundance, huge opportunities. Again, all of those things, even the grand, beautiful things that happen, those were an opportunity for you to see what is available or to see what's in the way of what's available for you. So it doesn't matter how you experienced it. Maybe you just had people all around you whose lives were falling apart or things were breaking or were sick. So in some way, everybody was affected by this. When we talk about the Schumann shows the light coming into the planet, right? Or actually, excuse me, they're saying I'm getting this backwards again. The Schumann, the light coming in, right, is not really registered on the radar, if you will, on the mapping system of the Schumann resonance. It doesn't really show the light that's coming in. What it shows is what Mother Earth is releasing. So when you see the huge influxes of the white, or even when we see a lot of green or maroon, so the light is going to be what I call acid reflux. Whatever she is releasing, you'll see that big spike, and that is her releasing. And when she releases, it triggers us to release because we are magnetically connected to her, right? I am you, you are me. So we experience this in tandem. And when you see the green or the maroon in the Schumann, that is all internal. So that's like an introspection that's going within. Sometimes people feel really nauseous during that time because the energy is being it's being collected and kind of pulled to the surface so that there can be a release. So we really wanted to start there because there's been some confusion about what the two mean. So I want to say again, congratulations for making it through August. August was a huge month for us collectively, and it's really gotten the ball rolling and getting us further to where it is that we want to be. September is going to be a reprieve. So I want you to know that September, while we will still see some small increases in the frequency, we won't have the pressure of so much coming in. So think about if it was one update after another update and another update coming in on your phone, you're having to let those updates wait, right? It's like they're waiting for you in the waiting room, and you're having to clear and make space in your body or in your phone so that next so for a lot of us, this energy that happened in August is going to play out through the rest of the year because we have to make space. We have to integrate. We have to bring this energy into the physical. This energy is available all around us. And so even though you won't feel the pressure or the pushing of the frequency, which kind of compounds everything and can make it more intense, can give you feelings of having extreme anxiety or anger or frustration even, especially when you don't know how to manage your energy, right? Which is kind of what we're always doing here. You can feel it that way. So it's like if you were trying to clean up your house and you had a line of people at your door waiting to come in one at a time, right? There's many, many metaphors that we can give you, but that is what September is going to be about. September is going to be a time for integration and bringing it into the physical. So I want you to look at the word integration, right? Integration. When you grate something, what are you doing? You're making it small, you're making it fine, you're making it blendable, you're making it something that can be mixed, right? So you're bringing that energy into yourself and allowing it to rebalance, reharmonize, and really bring yourself back into that balance point. So we're getting our balance back. We're getting up on our feet again, and we're going, oh my God, I can function, I can move, I can be social again, I can go and do things. And so integration is what September is about. It's about reclaiming your balance and really starting to take the new ahas that came through in August or continue cleaning out and making space inside of you for these new awarenesses, these new updates, this new frequency to come in and take its new residency inside of you. So what does it look like when we do integration, right? I am actually at the tail end of my Solvation program, which is all about integration. And a lot of what I do when I'm working in private mentor students, right? Really helping them to be that in which they seek and what they want to have in their own reality. You have to be it. So when you are seeing these lessons or you're having these triggers, it's showing you something that is not serving you in your life. And it is giving you an opportunity to reflect and say, what would I do differently? If I did that relationship again, if I had that conversation again, if I had that opportunity again, how would I have played this out differently? How would it have served me? What can I learn from this? Anytime we're triggered by anyone or anything, it has something to share with us. It's happening for a reason. So you can ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to show me? It's being open and being observant and listening. See, most people misunderstand why we have an ego. Our ego helps us to observe. Our ego is there to help us bear witness to this experience, and it can be used in that way. Our ego is not here to judge. Our ego is not here to put another down. Our ego is not here to compete. Our ego is not here to compare, to beat us ourselves up or another. Our ego is here because we are in a dualistic plane, and it creates enough of that separation to allow us to bear witness to what we're feeling, to bear witness to what we're thinking, to bear witness to our actions that we are taking. So we actually learn to train our ego to hold space and be that security, that anchor, to help us alert us when there's actual, real danger, not false evidence appearing real. So in September, you may have things show up. You may have opportunities. You may have people, places, or things that show up in your life, giving you an opportunity, a test, if you will, to use a human term, to see, okay, let's practice doing the thing that you said you would do differently. Having your own back, doing what you say you're going to do consistently. So when we talk about integration, there are many ways to integrate the energy. Sometimes we just need to integrate the energy, meaning we don't need to have a story attached to it. We don't need to have something to heal or something to look at. We don't need to tear it apart. This is why I love the purification process, because it allows us to bear witness so easily, right? I see you. That is taking responsibility. I notice that I'm triggered. I notice that I'm angry. I notice whatever, I'm in pain, whatever it is. Step 2, I hear you. If you're listening and there's no story attached, you just know that you don't feel well, or you're angry, or there's grief and you need to cry, but you don't know why. Don't go digging. If you're using the method, the purification process, right, and you witness and you take responsibility and you call out what's happening in your consciousness, in your reality, and you listen and you're like, I still don't know why I'm crying. I still don't know why I'm angry. You don't need to always have a story. Sometimes we just need to bear witness to the energy that's moving. When it's coming up, that's just energy moving. This morning, for a prime example, I was sitting in meditation and I had all of this fear come up out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, fear is here. And this is what it feels like when it moves up and out of me. I'm just witnessing it and experiencing it moving by me, through me, because there was no story attached to it. There was nothing for me to dissect. There was nothing for me to reconcile. I just had to witness it and create that safety inside of me. Number 3, I feel safe. I am safe. So I just breathed and was like, no, I'm witnessing my emotions. I'm witnessing shame. I'm witnessing fear. I'm witnessing grief, whatever it is, moving from where it was stuck in my body. It's wanting to move. It's wanting to come, for me to embrace it, for me to love, for me to say it's okay for it to be there, because it's just moving through. It's not setting up camp unless you get resistant to it. When you start resisting the energy, when you don't want to feel the emotion, that's when it sets up camp. And it says, well, we have to build a whole campsite, light some shit on fire, and make all kinds of ruckus so that she will see me, so that she will feel me, so that she will allow me to pass through. So when you feel the energy, or you're triggered by something and you start to cry or you start to get angry, but there's no story attached to it, don't try to understand. Don't try to figure it out. Just move the energy. You can do this through breath work. You can do this through dancing. You can do this through going for a walk, working out, swimming, whatever. Anything that is physical to allow the energy to express itself and to move. But when there is a story attached, witness, listen, hold space, as if your best friend was sitting next to you, telling you something, and you knew that there was nothing you could do to fix it. All you could do, all she asked you to do was listen, witness, have compassion for that aspect of yourself that is showing up, figure out what it needs and find a way to meet its needs, find a way to reconcile that energy, find a way to choose differently, find a new way to create a boundary that keeps you feeling safe. Boundaries are all about you, they're not about other people. Boundaries are your definition of self. When you define yourself by your values and virtues and you know thyself, but based upon that definition, that is what it means to have boundaries. Boundaries are your responsibility and they are your actions. So the first part of integration is movement, action, choosing to do the opposite of what you always do. Instead, if you always go right and you keep circling through the same shit, go left this time. Try a new way. Even if you feel fear, even if you feel anxiety, do it anyway. Breathe and do it anyway. If you're just having emotional upheavals and purging and anger and grief, shame, whatever showing up out of nowhere and there's no story, move your body. Just allow for the energy to move. Just allow yourself to cry. We don't always have to have a reason why. Sometimes the energy literally just needs to be released and expressed. Because oftentimes we will have an awareness, we will have an aha, we will already start to choose differently. And now that energy is free, right? Those gates have been closed, the gates of resistance have been closed. So once you start to do the new action and you start to do things differently and you start to speak differently and you start to care for yourself differently, you've opened those gates. And so now the energy can run free. And that's, and oftentimes we feel it and we think, oh, I thought I healed this, or I thought I did this. Well, that's the point. In order for something to be complete, in order for something to be resolved or dissolved or returned or blended into, go into harmony, right? Integration, crystallization, alchemy, all of those terms, you have to consistently choose differently. You have to consistently do the new behavior. You have to consistently speak the new way. You have to consistently hold the new belief. You have to consistently hold the new frequency. And that is the practice, is to consistently do the new thing until you no longer actually need to be like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. When it just starts to become your natural way, you have integrated. That part of you is integrated. That energy has integrated, meaning it's gone from this huge, dense, carbon-based energy that is a roadblock to a crystalline path that's lit up going this way to your dreams. This month will also be pretty nice energy overall. We are only 5 days away from the full moon in Pisces, one of my faves, because most of my energy is Pisces. But Pisces is a very dreamy energy. It's where our imagination is sparked. There's a lot of creation. There's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of just that Neptunian energy, right? Where we kind of get lost in the daydream and we just feel more hopeful, and our third eye is usually a little bit more open. Our dreams are a little bit more expressive, but it is still a full moon and there is still, again, that residual energy from August. So even while the energy is going to be so much nicer this month, it doesn't mean that you personally may not have the best month, right? So again, the energy is still needing to process. we're processing all of August. And I really hope that you take September seriously in creating that new consistent routine, or that new, integrating, creating a practice, or a schedule, or whatever it is for you that you need to do, creating that structure to really help you to implement the new beliefs, to implement the new actions that you want to take. Because at the end, at the end of September, going into August or October, human things like months. At the end of September, beginning of October, we're entering into eclipse season again. So this full moon really does kind of open the eclipse door. And so that energy is going to begin to intensify as we go towards October. It doesn't mean that it's going to be, again, pushing or as intense as it was for August. Absolutely not. But again, we really want to get as much of that August energy integrated and crystallized, and those structures to support our new way of being, supporting the new way that we're going to speak to ourselves, the way we're going to operate, defining our new boundaries before that eclipse season really gets ramped up, because that's going to open up a whole nother door for us, right? It's really going to bust things open. So let's focus on September being the month of play, of really structuring your new way of being, really working on making space in your body and in your physical reality for the things that you are desiring. So whatever it is that you're wanting in your life, you need to focus on what that would feel like to have it. And whenever you think about that new thing you want, or that new way you want to behave, or the new routine that you want, know that when you start to put that plan into place, when you start structuring your new day to support you to be the change, to be that in which you seek, know that that old energy is going to come up, because we have muscle memory. So the old things, the old excuses, the old things that you used to buy into, they're going to show themselves, and it's going to give you an opportunity. You're going to be tested. And I don't like to use that word tested personally, because just that word alone can be very triggering to people. I know it has been for me over the years. But a test is just to see, and I really love this in a private mentorship session recently. This showed up, and I really like the way that they said it. They said, think about traditional school. When you are tested, so maybe the day before the teacher did a lecture, and then the next day you're tested on if you were listening. And then you're also often tested on your comprehension, your ability to understand what you were hearing. So this is why there's multiple layers to the test, and why we often feel like, oh, I thought I healed this. No, we're giving you an opportunity to see if you were listening. If you were listening, you're going to choose differently. If you were listening, you're going to do a different action. If you're listening when the opportunity shows up, you're not going to run in fear. You're not going to listen to all the ego's limitations about why you can't do that because of some society program that might be running, false limitations, fake limitations. You're the only real limit. What you believe will be. So this is why September is a huge, huge opportunity to really lay the new foundation, the new programs that you want to be running, and to put them into action. And if you can practice doing these things throughout the whole month of September, you're really going to be setting yourself up for success as we go into more of the intense energies that we will experience through the end of the year. So let me grab my glasses here and see if anybody has any questions. Hi, Vanessa, Barbara, Corey. Vanessa says she's currently in bed with COVID. Embrace it. It's clearing some deep, deep stuff. Meredith says, oh, thank you. She says, my hair is amazing. Left side of my head is pushing in. This is an opportunity whenever you experience pain in your physical body, it is an opportunity for you to learn to communicate with your body, to understand what it's trying to tell you, what lives there, right? Because when we have physical pain, that's stuck energy. So when there's energy there, this is your opportunity to start to build your dictionary and learn to read your body. Again, another reason why almost all of my teachings combine the helping people to learn how to manage their energy and read their body. Those two things will one day be taught in school. They absolutely need to be, because whether you do this for a living or not, it is foundational to this journey. Foundational. So sit with it, make space with it, explore it. Hello, Carol. You're so welcome. Okay. Ah, that was a short update. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm supposed to be on here for longer. Anywho, thank you guys for hopping on. Now, I want to let you guys know that I will, you know, I usually do written updates throughout the month when things pop up and when things start to happen. So I will usually post those. So look forward for any of those mini updates. And just know that you're not alone in this. So whether it is a community in your neighborhood that you meet with, a yoga studio, a friend that you have, an online community like this, find people to help you feel like you're not alone, that you're not crazy, that you're going through this with other people. We're all going through this at some level, in some way, shape, or form. Don't beat yourself up. And again, I can't stress this enough. You don't always have to know why, but when you're listening, when you're moving through that purification process and a story is prevalent, observe the story. Don't get attached to it, right? But if there is no story, just allow for the energy to move and bear witness to it. And if you need support, I offer support at many, many different levels, from my YouTube membership and the Vault membership to sessions and courses and private mentorship. So there's always a way for you to be held. Almost every single one of those options has a point of interaction with me where you can have supported by me directly. So find a way that works for you to best be supported. And if it's not me, that's okay too. Find somebody that can help and support you and teach you these things. Again, energy management and learning to read your body are going to be foundational for where we're going to be living in the future and where we are headed. So if you haven't done it yet, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it and to start mastering it. I cannot stress that enough. It's one of the biggest gifts that I ever had in my life, and it came through some really scary stuff in my body. And when I finally started listening, everything changed for me and my body started to heal. So just know that it's always, everything we're always going through is happening for us, right? Even when I was during my COVID, I I experienced the worst physical pain I had ever, probably to date, that I've ever experienced with COVID. And I had chills and sweats, and it was so intense. And all I kept doing as I breathed, because I was in, I'm not in my own home. I didn't have anybody with me to help me or take care of me. And I just laid there and curled up in a ball, and I just kept saying, this is happening for me. This is happening for me. I'm just witnessing everything leaving my body. Watching myself shed all of this pain, all of this trapped energy, all of the things that were in my bones, that were in my tissues, that were really buried deep. So I allowed everything to just move through me. It wasn't easy, and it was still extremely painful, but it was also a beautiful thing to witness. Very beautiful thing to witness. So again, just to recap, September is time for you to change our behaviors, and it's time for us to change our beliefs, and it's time for us to start laying down the new way that you want to practice, the new way you want to be, the new way you want to speak, and start to create a structure that supports you so that you can move forward. Thank you so much for that advice, because that's how I'm feeling right now. Yeah. I'm sending you lots of love, Vanessa. It is not a fun experience, but I'm glad I had it and I'm glad it's over with. So I love you guys so much. Thanks for joining. Please share this with a friend if you know somebody that this could benefit, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.